So, without further ado, they are going to get started. Welcome in, Fluffy.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is LordFluffy, and welcome to Titanfall 2. Don't mind the menu screen. I forgot to change it back to normal. So this is all helmets. This is effectively the 100% category for Titanfall 2 speedrunning. It has some minor and major differences to the any percent run. And I'm going to be doing this commentary solo for the first time, as usually I have help for this run. It's a very busy run, but, you know... Whew, a little nervous. All right, so first thing we need to do is we need to start from new game. What this will do is it'll reset all the progression, including the helmets that we have to pick up. So doing that will allow us to have all the helmets reset, be ready to go, and time will start when I hit space to go on the first menu screen here. And I'm going to get something out of the way. Titanfall 2 is a military sci-fi FPS developed by Respawn Entertainment, the same minds behind Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and the critically acclaimed, very popular battle royale game Apex Legends. So, we'll go count down here and be ready to go. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So the first and most important thing about Titanfall 2 speedruns is that Titanfall 2 runs on a modified version of the Source Engine. This means that we're going to have Source Engine holdovers like bunny hopping and air strafing in conjunction with all the parkour mechanics that the game offers us, and we're going to use all those tools at our disposal in order to be able to maximize our speed across the board. So we're going to start off here in the tutorial section. We're going to start off getting a few abilities over time, but we're going to start off by showing off the air strafing in conjunction with the Titanfall's major version of bunny hopping, which is going to be slide hopping. So we're going to start off sprint during the screen here, get up to speed, and immediately jump, hold crouch, and then hold crouch the entire way through as we drift back and forth in the air to air strafe and continue to use this to maintain our speed. So I'm going to try and build up some speed here. Didn't quite get what I needed, so we're just going to wait here for a dialogue. Get a wall run through here and progress on forward. So, air strafing is a very complicated thing in the grand scheme of things, but I'm going to boil it down to as simplest as I possibly can by holding left and right on your keyboard instead of forward and moving your mouse in the direction that you're holding. Depending on the air acceleration of the game, you will subvert the speed cap and actually accelerate in the air, allowing you to, maintain speed and even build up speed in a lot of situations in other places where you otherwise do it. Now we're going to enter on into the Gauntlet. So the Gauntlet is a very famous section because of the fact that it has an internal timer in the game to begin with. And the Gauntlet speedrun world records that we've had over the years has been more and more impressive over time. Shoutouts to Gauntlet runners like Cash Mayo, who are just ridiculous at maintaining, getting and maintaining that speed throughout such a short run. So that was the first helmet we picked up right through there. Notably, you saw me use grenades to actually boost myself forward, but I did a technique of frag boosting where I just held the grenade the entire time and let it explode in my hand. This is the only time that we're going to be seeing this particular style of frag boosting going forward because we are currently in a simulation. And because we're in a simulation, we can't actually die. So that allows us to just throw the grenades completely. Just hold the grenades until they explode and get the maximum speed boost potentially out of it that we can get. Any further speed boosts using explosives going forward to damage boost us, we'll have to do and time in specific ways. In order to enter the radius where we take damage from the explosion, but not actually enter the kill radius of the explosion as well. So we're done with all the movement here throughout the run, and now we just have a cutscene to go to the very end. So I'm going to take the time to explain something that you might see in the bottom left corner of the screen. So it's some text that says CKF. This stands for Crouch Kick Fix, and is part of the speedrun menu mod, a menu mod that we allow with some modifications to the game. Most notably, these are not modifications specifically to change how the game works, but rather fix a certain thing, and that's what the Crouch Kick Fix is. So in Titanfall 2 speedrun, we have wall kicks, and we have a version of it called a Crouch Kick, which involves pressing the crouch and the jump button at the same time you go for a wall kick. What that ends up doing is it gives you the speed boost of a wall kick, as well as the speed boost of a forced end boost, which ends up giving you way more speed than a regular wall kick if you can manage to hit it. We have, however, with testing, noted that this is hardware and frame rate dependent. So the crouch kick fix adds a small, like we're talking maybe less than a second buffer, like a half-second buffer or something like that, to ensure that your buttons are pressed on the same frame. Because what can happen is, we're going to load into the next level here. That's the end of the first level. I'm going to keep explaining this. What can happen is you might press your space and your crouch 0.1 milliseconds off from each other. But that 0.1 milliseconds was the difference between one frame and the next frame, and so you don't get the crouch kick. The crouch kick fix specifically adds a very small buffer to ensure that even that variance that can happen doesn't really occur. So it's still a very, very skill expression mechanic. It's just the crouch kick fix is meant to reduce the RNG element of it by making sure that as long as you're super, super close or exactly perfect with your button presses, that the game doesn't mess you up with it. So, with the lore here on this first level, this is the first real level of the game outside the tutorial. This is BT-7274. We were part of a mission to... we were part of the militia, which is a rebellious group military unit that is fighting back against the IMC, which is basically a mega corporate conglomerate. And we were going to an IMC-controlled planet to try and figure out what was going on with some data and some intel that we found. But, unfortunately, the planet had more anti-orbital defenses that we really knew was coming. So the ship we were on, you can see it in the background, got shot down, and we had to escape in an escape pod. Now we're going to enter into the first gameplay section here. We're not going to have the wide array of parkour movements for this first section, but we are going to be able to push ourselves through. Now, we're going to do a little thing here called a super glide. If you played Apex Legends, you might learn it. The moment we come out of this cutscene, we're going to dash forward and hit crouch and space, which is going to give us a super glide, which is a very, very good pick up your speed out of a cutscene situation here. And that's all for the first gameplay section. Now, notably here, you're going to see the moment the Titan sits down here, he's going to load a quick save. This is something that we've added into the game. Sorry. I'm learning how to breathe while I'm talking. This is something we've added into the game, which is something called the 18-hour bypass. Basically, using the menu mod, as well in conjunction with Live Split, we can load a quick save, and thanks to Fizzy and his wonderful programming... Oops, I need to back up here. Thanks to Fizzy and his wonderful programming, what ends up happening is we load a quick save that is later on in the level. This Prowler is in my way. And what ends up happening is the time that we are skipping by loading that quick save is automatically entered into Live Split. So what I just did there was skip about 3 minutes and 22 seconds of cutscene and have that time automatically injected into Live Split. So it's as if I didn't even skip the time to begin with. I just skipped the waiting, which is a wonderful quality of life change for the fact that that is an extremely long and frustrating to sit through cutscene at the very beginning of every single run. So it just means that you have less time waiting at the beginning of your run and more time to play the game. Now, this first section here of pilot movement, now that we've picked up our full array of parkour movement, we don't actually have a double jump throughout this first section. And that's important because a lot of the movement that I've had to do through this has to be very deliberate, because double jumps are very often used in Titanfall 2 to correct movement mistakes. Now we do have the double jump, though, and we're going to be heading on into the first section. The first ship section, where we're going to try and pick up a battery. The battery we need to fuel our Titan friend, BT, because we need him to press forward in the game. Coming up here is going to be a trick known as a slant boost. In this game, when you hit slants at certain angles, you can transfer all your vertical momentum into horizontal momentum. So we hit this at the right point. There we go. We're going to pick up 60 kilometers per hour. Hit that wall for a little bit of safety. Cook a grenade. Oh, pulled it a little bit too early, so we're just going to go ahead, take out all those guys, and put in the first battery. And now we're going to head on into the second section here. Very difficult section, so I'm probably going to take a little bit of time to focus, which is Ravine. This is going to be a lot of chains of slide hops, a frag boost at the start, as well as a lot of crouch kicks. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to focus. Okay, didn't get the boost that I wanted. That's okay. We'll just reset. Keep it on going here. Real quick, this is a blind wall kick. You don't get the lean-in animation there, so you have to try and time it based on feel. Didn't end up getting it, but we're still managing to pick up some good speed here, so I'm going to go for one last wall kick here. Ideally, I would have had 60 or higher, but I managed to still have the positioning right. If I can get this... Oh, nope, didn't quite make it. Ideally, I would have liked to have hopped on top of that little piece of terrain, but didn't quite get the height that I needed, so I wasn't able to properly transition it through. Still a pretty good ravine overall. And now we're in the second ship section, where we once again need to get a second battery. Once we get the second battery, we'll get a second slant boost, which we're going to try and transition into a clean helmet 2 grab. By the way, we already picked up helmet 1. It's an uninteresting helmet. This section here, holding forward and spamming spacebar is the fastest way to get through there. Unironically, that's the strat. Here's helmet 2. We're going to go for another slant boost. Ideally, we get about 65 plus kilometers off of this slant boost. We can transition that directly. Okay, so not quite going to work, so I'm going to take a little bit of a backup here. Oh, didn't get the height that I needed. Interesting. All right, no big deal. That is an example of hitting your crouch button before your spacebar button. Don't do that, folks. All right, there we go. There's helmet 2. A bit sloppy. No big deal. So, now that we've got the second helmet, that's the second and last helmet in this level, we're going to come on over, pull a frag, and try and throw these frags in specific spots at specific times. If we do this right, perfect. We'll kill all the specters that we need to kill in order to be able to insert this battery, well before we'd ever have to kill them otherwise. And that ends up saving some time in the grand scheme of things as well. And now, because we have supercharged our friend here, BT, we are now going to embark inside of him and enter the Titan tutorial. So, we're going to get introduced to a bunch of Titan mechanics, specifically the loadout in single player called Expedition. And we're going to do a specific strategy to try and speed this up by forcing the game to go to the second section of the tutorial early. So basically, there's an internal timer for the first section where if you don't clear it by a specific point, it'll push you forward to the second section to give you an easier time to kill anything you might be having trouble to kill. But if you kill all of them early enough, you can actually force it to the second section and save a few seconds. So, what's going to start off is he's going to say, Protocol 3, protect the pilot, and there's going to be stalkers up on this archway that we need to take out. So we're going to do a very deliberate thing here. We're going to aim between these sets, hopefully take them all out. Very good. And now the sets on the right, we're going to ignore the set on the right. We're going to aim for the set on the left. And now we're going to take the bullets that we are getting from these specters, kill these ones down here. Nice, very good. So we forced it to do the second section of the Titan tutorial early by managing it like that. Kill the set on the right, absorb the bullets here, reflect them back there, and now we do rockets for all 5 of these. The next set we're also going to rocket down, and that is the first section of the Titan tutorial done. And now we're going to head into the second section, which is going to be an actual fight versus another Titan. I'm going to be trying to execute a strat here that I lovingly refer to as Know You. So here's what's going to happen. This Titan is going to come down. I'm going to dash, put down an electric smoke, and aim at him while standing in a specific place to try and manipulate him, and then shoot a whole bunch of bullets into his vortex shield, which I then absorbed into my own vortex shield, double no-youing the bullets right back at him for all that extra meaty damage, finish the rest of my clip into him, take them all out. Mwah! Beautifully done. Alright, so that is going to be the end of the first level, first real level for Titanfall 2, which is BT-7274. Now we're going to be entering into Blood and Rust, and Blood and Rust, the first 2 levels, they're pretty much the same with some minor differences from their any % variants, but Blood and Rust is really where the level starts, levels start to be significantly different going through them than the any % variants. So, at the start here, we're going to be introduced to Titan movement. Titans are basically treated like giant players. So they still have the ability to air strafe while they're in the air. They also have access to 2 Titan dashes, which, if you combine them with dashing off of high ground, you can air strafe from the high ground to the low ground, and you can also maintain the speed of a dash throughout through, such as to slide across that tone. Very well done. So the general gist is anytime you're in Titan movement, you want to never be overcapped on your dashes. We're going to go for a disembark jump there to get up to this first helmet. Now we're going to come out. Typically, this is where you would, get back in the Titan normal gameplay. However, we're not going to do that. Because generally speaking in this game, if you have the choice between pilot movement and Titan movement, the pilot movement will be, generally speaking, faster across the board. This is because the pilot movement can maintain a higher rate of speed throughout the course. Even if it doesn't get higher peaks, it has higher consistent speed than the Titans. So, as a result of that, we just go through that section there once we get that first helmet. Pick up the second helmet, pick up, and enter on in here, hit the button, and now I need an audio cue. Then we're going to head on into Sniper Canal. Okay, accidentally went a little bit too early there, so no big deal. Okay, a little bit of bad movement, no big deal through. So Sniper Canal is lovingly referred to as such because pretty much all the enemies throughout this next section have the Kraber sniper rifle, which in higher difficulties is basically a one-shot. So don't wanna be hit up by that. So we're gonna take some deliberate movement here. We're gonna go for a double wall kick here off of these walls. If we do this right, nicely done. 58 kilometers, plenty to clear that gap. Now we can take a movement spree over here. And here's where I'm going to introduce the concept of tap strafing. So, in Titanfall 2, you have pretty low air acceleration compared to other Source games. So, you can't really take tight corners like that with just air strafing all that well. However, in conjunction with the lurch mechanic, you can do something known as tap strafing, which allows you to circumvent that air acceleration by holding a direction and then tapping forward, which lurches you in a 45-degree angle towards the direction you're holding. And if you can do multiple tap strafes in a single window, you can make very, very tight turns that you otherwise would not be able to with the low air acceleration in Titanfall 2. All right,
Fluffy, do we have time for a couple of donations?
Just a second. So we're coming up to the fifth helmet here, just a little climb up. We're going to pick up this EPG real quick, and now we're going to be doing something known as a bump launch. So if you ever enter a situation where you can fit yourself between two walls, you can actually hold crouch just like that and spam jump and rapidly ascend between the two walls like that, which is very, very cool. It's a very niche trick, but a very fun one to play with. And now we're coming up to a very major skip called Sludge Skip. So what I'm doing here is I'm manipulating the dialogue in such a way that BT stays where he is for as long as possible. I ideally want to hit the dialogues at specific points, because we also want the dialogues to finish before we reach BT, because if we've embarked into BT too soon, we'll actually hard crash the game. So I just needed to get through a little gap there, get on over, and boom, embark into BT through the wall. That is actually a huge skip. I may have made that look easy, but it's actually a multiple minute skip, skipping a forced fight sequence otherwise in the game to do so. And now we're going to be coming up to the boss fight of this level, which is going to be Kane. And the voice acting incentive was met, so I'm going to give you, before the run, so I'm going to give you a little bonus here. You were not invited to Kane's party, and that's why you're dead. Well, well, another runaway hero with an SRS Vanguard class Titan. Woo! Now we're talking! Bringing a knife to a knife fight. Alright, so we're going to make use of the tone loadout here to get lock-ons on both the Brute and the Kane. Then we're going to fire 2 volleys because of the lock-on. Where did Kane go? There he is. To take out the Brute instantly. We're going to do a quick swap reload here, which actually reloads are done quicker than if we just shot it normally. Now we're going to unload our Salvo Core, which is like an ultimate ability into Kane. If we do this right, he won't put up his second shield. Very good. Extremely good Kane fight. Okay, and now we're entering an unskippable cutscene at the end of the level here, so take away the donations.
Awesome, thank you so much. So we have a couple of donations here. First, we have $20 from Furzig Badger. No comment on that one. And we have an $8 donation from JD Puppy that says, another verified donation. Where are my other verified donors at? And now for the pun. Titanfall implies the existence of Titan Winter, Titan Spring, and Titan Summer. Am I right? I think you are right.
True. Alright, so we're just waiting for the level to end here. Sorry, did you... Go ahead.
Yeah, no, with those donations, it looks like Spare Marvin is now in the lead by quite a bit. So, again, if we want to get those incentives met, if you're looking towards sparing or killing Marvin, make sure you donate.
Kill Marvin, please. I beg of you, kill Marvin. Alright, so... Now we're going to head on to Into the Abyss Chapter 1. Now, Into the Abyss Chapter 1 has gone through a major change in recent times. Previously, we had known about an out of bounds in this level, but we hadn't found a way to make it faster, but now we found a way to make it faster with conjunction, which is something known as the Abyss Sandwich. So, we're going to start off, we're going to go for a frag boost at the start here. I got the speed, but unfortunately I did a side jump in the air, which lost me my speed, so I'm just going to go a little bit out of my way, take a little bit of different routing to be able to progress through here. So, this start off is the same as what we did before. We do a frag boost at the start, and we make use of the EPG we picked up earlier to get some damage boosts to progress through here. But, normally, after you get the second helmet, you turn around and you go back to BT, but we're actually not going to do that. We're going to completely abandon BT for the rest of this level. Do another frag boost there, get a small boost, not bad. And the reason for this is we have managed to make the out of bounds fast. Alright, so I'm throwing these frags a little bit early, kind of just like, you know, I'm nervous, I don't want to die to a frag, so no big deal. But we're still progressing through the level, so the reason why taking the Titan was, what we thought was taking the Titan was required was because there was a door later on in the level that only opens once 3 Titans later on in the level have been destroyed. And we had ways to skip it, but we didn't have ways to skip it faster. However, with discoveries, we found a routing and ways to get past the door in a way that's faster than before. So we're going to ride a wall like that, and at the wall, if we ride it at the right position, it's actually going to force us out of bounds. So now we are currently out of bounds in the level. Now, we have to make sure we're routing through this outside wall, outside portion in a specific way, because we still have to hit some triggers that are inbound. I'm going to have to throw this frag away, unfortunately, because I got caught up on some stuff. So I'm a little low on speed right now, so I'm going to try a safer strategy to get through here. If we jump at this right, there we go. We can slide on underneath these doors that we would otherwise have to kill some Titans for. Come on over here, out of bounds, and we got the dialogue, so we know that we've hit all the triggers at this point. Now we're going to slide down here, and we're going to do a forced void out, which is actually going to place us back in bounds, which is something we need to do because we don't have any other way to get back in bounds otherwise. Losing some speed. Then we're going to come over to the 4th helmet here. The moment we pick it up, we're going to reload checkpoint, which is going to spawn us back up at the top here where we went back in bounds to begin with. Since we timed this game with in-game time, that saves time not only in real time, being able to get back to the top, but it also saves time in-game time as well, since we time without loads. So now we've done that, we've picked up all 4 helmets in this stage. We need to come over, hit this button, and as you can see over there, you might have saw BT was actually suddenly with us despite us leaving him behind. So, funny that. All right. So that is the first part of the Abyss Sandwich, the Abyss 1 out of bounds, or Oob-Biss 1, you know, like out of bounds Abyss. It's funny. I like the name. Anyway, this is Into the Abyss Chapter 2. Into the Abyss Chapter 2 is kind of tragic. This is the level we really want an out-of-bounds skip for. So we pick up the first helmet, very small detour, but like this movement is kind of really cool through this first section. You know, you can even manage to hold like all the speed you get from the initial platform launch at the start of the level, and none of it matters because unfortunately, Into the Abyss Chapter 2 is one big auto-scroller. Pick up, now that I've made use of the EPG in the places that I want to, I'm going to pick up a Spitfire for a later level. Now we're going to make use of a platform launch, which is going to preserve the platform velocity in a very, very strange way. Ooh, that is some good speed. Oh my goodness, look at me go. Ah, man, that was such a good launch, though. If I had managed to keep that speed, there was a potential that I could have managed to clear this entire next gap. I'm going to come over here. So, but what you're seeing right now, these are some, like, ancient strats in terms of Titanfall 2 speedrunning. Like, before people knew that this level was an auto-scroller, like, this is how people navigated through the level, basically. So, again, most of this movement here doesn't really matter, as I've mentioned, but when you're doing all helmets, you do actually want to pay attention to how fast you have been going through the level, and you want to pay attention to the platforms in general. So, what I actually just landed on, this is the actual first platform that'll ever come through this section. So I hit the fast cycle, like the fastest cycle, the god cycle, if you will. Now, this cycle pretty much only determines one thing, and that's how risky you have to play this section leading up to helmet number 3 in order to avoid potentially losing time by going a bit too slow. Now, because I got the first cycle, I didn't have to play it risky at all. I could just take a very slow, methodical path to the second helmet, and then get back on this first platform, which will carry me over there. And at that point, we're just more or less waiting for the cycles to reach a specific point so that we can progress forward. So this is a wonderful time for any further donations.
Let's take a look here. Nothing yet, but if you guys are incentivized by the bid incentive to either spare or kill Marvin, definitely get those donations in.
All right, so I went fast enough that I theoretically could have done a little like fun minigame we like to play in any percent, which is, you know, red versus blue, or in my case, man versus machine. But I was just sort of delaying time here. So now that the first platform is reached, we're going to come over and stand in a very specific spot on the outside of this platform. There's a more advanced strategy known as railgun that you can do in this upcoming section, but railgun is significantly harder than the strategy that I'm going to be using. So at this point, we're just going to be waiting. So I'm going to take a specific lineup on the outside of this. What is this thing? It's like a crane arm, a ferry. I don't really know. Anyway, this is the lineup I want. We're going to be doing something called dome launch. So you may have heard me say platform launches in this game. So when you're on a moving platform in Titanfall 2, you move at the speed. Your movement becomes relative to that platform. So if you were to jump off the platform at specific times, you would maintain the speed that the platform is actually going at. So, for example, if I jump here, I land back at the same spot because I'm going at the consistent speed. We can use this to our advantage by timing a jump off of this little crane arm here using a visual cue, and we can get where we need to go much quicker. So that looks good. Very good. All right. And that is dome launch all the way up to the trigger. Oh, whoopsie daisies. We're okay. This is going to be a little bit scuffed because I ended up accidentally double jumping when I didn't mean to. So I can get over to the third helmet here. I'm not going to be able to take the second platform here like I want. I probably could have, but I'm going to play it safe and instead just go on the third platform, which gives me less time to get where I need to go for the next major skip, which is going to be dome skip. But still, it's going to have me. I'm gonna have enough time to be able to do it. The very heavy auto-scroller nature of this level does mean that you have the ability to make mistakes before you're ultimately punished for it. So there's just a hole in the collision there. All you have to do is go to that part of the wall, crouch, and walk through, and then you have gone out of bounds. significantly easier than the previous out of bounds in Abyss 1. And we can use that to navigate over to this section here. And if we line ourselves up in such a way, what's going to happen is the screen is going to go dark. All the lights are going to go out. And then the game is actually going to teleport us to a similar dome very far off in the distance. And what ends up happening is by standing in this spot out of bounds, we end up falling directly into the end level trigger. And we move on into the next level, into the Abyss Chapter 3, where we're going to execute the second part of the Abyss sandwich. So, I'm going to start off. We're going to have to go through some tight corridors. We can manage to maintain our speed through these corridors if we're good. Very good. I managed to maintain a good amount of speed through there. Don't have speed here, but this isn't going to be the end of the world. We're going to go for another bump launch right in here. We need to line ourselves up right in the middle. Very good. Get to the top, and this will allow us to jump on over to this first helmet here, without making use of the rotating platform that the game would otherwise want you to rotate. Next up, we're going to go through this particular section called Decept Caverns, routed by S-Decept, as is a lot of things in this game. Basically, most strats here, if you can conceive of them, Decept has probably conceived of them. Now we're going to get some more platform momentum here, and now we're going to embark into BT. Oh, BT, come on, bud. Thank you. So there is a harder version of this strat that involves not embarking into BT. However, because of how risky it actually is, we're going to go for marathon safety here. We're going to embark into BT, and now we're going to do E-Smoke Ash Skip. If you watched a Titanfall 2 speedrun before, you've likely seen the Ash Skip, where we hover up onto a pipe, clip out of bounds, and then navigate out of bounds to the end level trigger. However, by doing the Abyss 1 out of bounds, we actually do not have access to the Brute loadout, which would be required to do that skip in the first place. Thankfully, there is another way to skip past the Ash fight itself by making use of the Expedition loadout. So, we're going to load into the Ash fight itself, but we're not going to fight her, notably. We're absolutely not going to fight her in any capacity. Alright, so she might get in our way, but that's no big deal. We're going to just dash on past her. And we're going to come up over here. Now we're very specifically going to jam BT into a specific portion. Oh, I did it wrong. Come here, BT. We're going to jam BT into this little wall here. Use the E-Smoke ability, which should push BT backwards. This might not work. We'll have to see. It did work. Okay, cool. Which does clip him into the door, and then if we embark into him, we can actually clip right through the door and skip the Ash fight in a completely different way. So, wonderfully and mercifully, we've managed to get through that very smoothly, and that is the two halves of the Abyss sandwich. The reason why the Abyss 1 out of bounds wasn't useful before was really mostly because we were skipping the Brood loadout that we would need for the Ash fight. But now with E-Smoke Ash Skip, we can make use of the Abyss 1 out of bounds, and that went perfectly well. Now we load into the next level, which is Effect and Cause Chapter 1. So this is the level. If you have played this game before, this is the level you remember. If you have friends who've played this game, this is the level that they talk about. That's weird. Wasn't this building all destroyed before? Why is that? I'll tell you why. It's because we're jumping through time. Alright. So this first section is a lot of scripted time swaps that we want to get to the next time swap triggers as fast as possible. Now we're going to go for a frag boost here. Oh, I did not get the speed that I wanted, so I am going to have to abandon that frag boost. Unfortunately, I got caught up on the lip, so instead we'll try and go for some crouch kicks on the wall here. To speed ourselves up. 50 kilometers is perfectly fine through this section. I can make use of that. Yeah, ideally we would have gotten a frag boost there. Get up to like 60 or higher, and then hi, this is Major Anderson. This is the guy we were supposed to rendezvous with this whole time. He's just hanging out. Don't worry about him. And that is the major gameplay section of the first half of Effect and Cause Chapter 1 done and done with. And now we have effectively an in-game cutscene that we have to just watch and sit through. There are some helmets in this level, but they are not particularly interesting because we just we just end up picking them up through this scripted in-game cutscene. So if this is a great time for the host to take it over and have some announcements, I think.
Excellent. So we have 2 more donations coming in. First is from TJ, who donates $5 and says, "Cheers to LordFluffy and everything they've done for the all helmets category. P.S. Leave that poor Marvin alone." And we have
No.
another donation from Skeleton Jelly 47 for $20. It says, "Go fast, Fluffy, and kill that Marvin." So
Thank you.
this is a very close bid war. We are within $5 between those two. So definitely get those donations in. And just a little bit of info, since we are in this cutscene. Throughout the weekend, we are welcoming donations of all sizes in support for this charity, Trans Lifeline. You don't need to make a big donation to make a big impact. $25 is all it takes to connect one person in need to that Trans Lifeline peer support hotline. And a $5 donation, when combined with 4 other people donating that same $5, has that meaningful impact on someone's life. So definitely consider donating now. You can type !donate in chat and let your friends know how they can help as well.
All right, so we're coming up in the end of the cutscene here. There is a hole in the building that we're going to enter to. Unfortunately, it's surrounded by invisible walls, so we can't just go into it like normal. So what we're instead going to do is jump off of this wall very high up here. Oh, I missed it. That's a new one. Ideally, I would have jumped at the right time, and I would have grabbed the zip line here very close to the top, which would have saved a lot of time. As you have to ride the zip line here to get into here. But that's a new one. That's never happened before. I don't think I've just outright ever missed it before. So that's funny. So now we're going to enter into another scripted time swap sequence, and I'm going to try and do a funny little glitch here. There we go. Nice. Got teleported upwards, my favorite. And we'll get into why that happened in the next level. But we're going to come up here on a very, very cool trick known as FTL, found by Brian Otto, king of this speedrun for such a long time and such a key community figurehead. Shout out to Brian Otto, straight up. So we're going to try and get hit by this laser grid. Oh, so it didn't end up working. But as you can see, when you get hit by the laser grid, you get shot out at a very high rate of speed. What you can actually do is you can get hit by that laser grid and shoot yourself through this entire section. This entire section at the very end there at an incredibly fast speed. But that's into the Effect and Cause Chapter 1. Now we're going to head into Effect and Cause Chapter 2. And this is where you get the best tutorial dialogue ever, because that whole time swapping thing in the previous level, we can control it now. So we get press mouse 5 to time travel as an information pop-up, and now we can control the time swap as we go through this level, which is incredibly cool. And a lot of the routing around this level is making sure you can maintain your speed while also making sure you have enough speed to time swap. We're going to go for another frag boost here. Decent sized boost from it, but unfortunately I missed the wall, so I didn't end up getting the most out of it. So now we're going to time swap again. This will be a scripted movement sequence from these guys here. We can just end up walking through them. And now we're going to climb up here. We're going to go for 6 jumps. Once we get 6 jumps, we're at enough height to pick up the first helmet. Slide on through. And now we're going to enter the first of 2 waiting sections in this level, which gives me the opportunity to show how this level is actually built. So you can see here Major Eli Anderson, and then also below Major Eli Anderson. But when I time swap, the one below is gone, but now there's one above us. So the way that this level is actually built and how it actually functions in-game is every time you swap time, you're actually being teleported up or down to a different version of the level stacked on top of each other, which is a very cool little tidbit about this level. So a little bit of movement there, and we'll pick up the second helmet, and we'll head into the second waiting section here. So for lore purposes, we're here to try and figure out what this arc is, because what the mission details basically said is that the IMC is developing a weapon that can apparently destroy planets. It's the Death Star. Let's be real here. It's the Death Star. And now we're trying to figure out what the arc is, which in the grand scheme of things, the arc is the power source for the fold weapon. Without the arc, the fold weapon cannot actually operate. So we're gonna do a quick little thing there for the third helmet, and now we're gonna enter into the most difficult section of this level, which is Hell Room. I'm gonna make a quick detour over here for helmet number 4, and then we have 2 more level helmets to get through. We're gonna go for another frag boost here. Nice, good frag. Oh, didn't quite get enough speed though to clear that gap, so we're gonna have to abandon what I was going for there. I'm going to take a little bit of a slight detour, get on this zip line here, hop off, and we're going to quickly do... That was too early of a time swap. No big deal. I should just spawn right here, which will get me enough height to pick up the helmet. And then the final helmet is just right here. I did the thing again. Thankfully, I caught the wall and caught myself that time. Very good. That is all 6 helmets throughout Affected Cause Chapter 2. And also a good example of how cool moving through this level actually is. One final section here where we've got to do some time swaps to avoid different pieces of debris in that little vent. Aha, I vented Among Us. Funny joke, everybody. And now we're coming up onto the end of the level. We're going to make sure to time swap before we get to the end of the level, just to make sure the start of the next level goes very quickly afterwards. And that is Affecting Cause Chapter 2. Affected Cause Chapter 3 does not have any helmets to it. It is exactly the same as any percent, and that's because it shares the same level as Affected Cause Chapter 1. So, we're going to first start off by coming in here, because we need to make a bridge to the arc, to the mini fold version of the fold weapon on this level appear, so that we can get on over to it, because our mission objective right now is to scan the arc. Interesting. At the time swap there, I was about to be punched into the stratosphere by that Titan. So now we come on over to the bridge, and the fold weapon is going to malfunction. The mini fold weapon is going to malfunction. It's going to explode. But what it's going to end up doing is it's going to actually freeze us in time here, which is the final segment of Affecting Cause Chapter 3. Now, I wish we could I wish we weren't in a speedrun, because all the detail of everything that's frozen in time here is so cool to look at. But we do not have time for that, as we have to navigate ourselves over to the arc, start scanning it, and that is the end of the level at this point. We're just waiting on a cutscene to finish it up. Take it away, host, if you've got anything to say.
I sure do. We have quite a few donations that have come in. First, we have a $10 donation from Anonymous that says, always happy to see Fastest Furs running for an amazing cause, even more so when a good friend is hosting. I wonder who that donor could be. Best of luck to all the runners and to the host. Feet. We have an $8 donation from JD Puppy that says, that sounds like a verified, that's never happened before. Save the frame, kill the Marvin. We have $20 from Berzik Badger, no message on that one. And we have $15 from CDI Games that says, love when runners explain in-depth mechanics of how games really work. Had no idea about the super vertical teleportation on Affecting Cause.
Yeah, it's very cool. All right, so this is going to be the last level to get your donations in for the Spare or Kill Marvin incentive. It'll be closing at the end of this level. So, get those donations in. This is the Beacon Chapter 1. There is a pseudo-auto-scroller element to the start of this, but if we go fast enough, we can actually speed up that element at the end. So your movement here, even though this is kind of an auto-scroller, still does absolutely matter. So I'm going to take specific routing through here to try and get on over to the building that we have to enter later on in the level. Oh no, the geometry. The geometry, no! Oh my goodness. Okay, that's fine. I think we can still do this. So we're going to cook a frag, time it so that we can throw it at these two guys, try and take them out. And we want to target on these stalkers here. We want to try and target their weak spots, because that'll cause them to explode. And the reason we want to do that is because the stalkers exploding deals damage. So, if we can cause the stalkers to explode close to other stalkers, it'll deal damage to them and kill them without us actually needing to hit the stalkers themselves. Once the stalkers are all done, we can actually come back over to BT here, and very good, we did get threat neutralized, so we did skip a whole lot of dialogue there. Do I? I do need it, don't I? Shoot. I forgot. Okay, cut off the donation incentive here. I just realized I have to do something here. So I have to do a mission select thing. I have to restart this level because I realized I messed something up. So something that does happen by skipping Titan loadouts is you don't get them for the rest of the game. However, I do need the Brute loadout for an upcoming level into in Beacon Chapter 3. I do need the Brute loadout for that. And if I don't have the Brute loadout, then unfortunately I can't do the trick that the super important trick to that level. And the way that it works is if you load into a level using the mission select feature, you can get those Titan loadouts. But what I forgot to do is when I loaded into the Beacon Chapter 1 to go back to the main menu and then do the loading screen. Then use mission select to get the access to those Titan loadouts. So, and another little quirk is because I started with new game, I don't have all the levels unlocked by starting at new game. And by starting at new game, it also does a little quirk where levels that have multi-parts to them, so affect and cause the beacon into the abyss, they won't allow you to select specific spots of the... they won't allow you to select specific spots of the level, specific chapters of the level until you've completed all the chapters. So I kind of accidentally forgot about that, so I ended up having to redo this whole level as a result of that, because if I had... loaded into the Beacon Chapter 2 and then realized it then, I would have had to play through all of the rest of Beacon Chapter 1 again and then head back to Beacon Chapter 2. So unfortunately, had to go through that. That is okay. We do it live. We do it live. And that is... Sorry. I am... little flustered by that mistake. That's okay. We will move on. So, now that we're in this section, again, if you have not already, cut off the spare Kill the Marvin incentive, and we will push forward regardless of that mistake. Because ultimately, it only loses us about 2 minutes. It's not the worst in the world. There are mistakes that can cost us much more. All right, so I need the results on spare or kill the Marvin. What am I doing?
You are sparing the Marvin by $1.
Okay. So, this is the history of the world records for this IL in particular is it is ridiculous how optimized this level has become. But we are sparing the Marvin by $1. A little disappointing, but it's no big deal. We get to do something funny, and I get to show you all why you're actually terrible people for saying spare the Marvin. So, we're going to pick up this little thing here. Come on over and pick up this helmet, and we most notably needed to see a checkpoint sign pop up there. Otherwise, we might have potentially checkboarded back to the start of the level. Now we're going to pick up the little softball grenade launcher again, and now we're going to do kill room skip. That is not going to work, so I'm going to have to restart that. That will... No, not quite. Unfortunately, didn't get the strafing I needed. So, kill room skip might look easy on the surface, but it actually is a test of, like, your mastery of the overall, like, general mechanics of Titanfall 2. It is actually a much harder skip than it looks like. So, third try for that in a marathon, honestly, not that bad in the grand scheme of things. So we're going to make use of the softball to get ourselves some softball boosts here. We're going to progress through the level. And now we're going to come up on our good friend, the Marvin. So, normally this is where I would, you know, shoot a softball at him. I was a little bit too low there. Interesting. So normally this is where we would shoot a softball at him, take him out, you know, spare him the upcoming pain that he's going to be grabbing here. But look what you've done, everybody. You have made him sad. He is sad forever. He will never recover from having his favorite arc tool taken from him. Look what you've done. He is sad for the rest of his life, which isn't going to be very long, but he is very sad. Can't believe you've all done this. Alright, so we picked up the second helmet there, and now we're going to go for heat sink skip. We're going to go for a frag boost variant version of it. We're going to pull it as we jump off here. Try and throw it for the middle of this door, and if we get a good enough boost, which we did, we'll be able to clear this gap, come over here to hit an invisible trigger that we need to hit to avoid soft locking the level. Now we're going to climb up through here, and now we're going to go through the last section here where this fan boosts us extremely fast through these walls. We're going to go for fast fans here. Jump off early, come on down. The idea is we wanted to maintain a very good 60 kilometers there. Accidentally threw a frag for some reason, but that's okay. So we managed to maintain pretty much most of the speed that we had through that section, which was very good. And despite the little roughness, that was honestly pretty solid. Beacon 2 otherwise. Oh my goodness. All right, so now we're going to enter into the Beacon Chapter 3. And this, if you've seen a Titanfall 2 speedrun before, this is probably the level that you're thinking of. All right. So we're going to start off here with a scripted sequence, something I want to throw out. You notice that I'm shooting multiple of these grenades at my feet. I'm taking damage, but then I'm immediately going back to full HP. So in this first opening section here, I don't know if this is easy difficulty specific, but you can't actually die throughout this opening section. You just get healed back to full, like, immediately. I could throw a fire star, which puts a layer of thermite at my feet. And I just will not die to it. And this room here, the entire point is it's supposed to be radiated, so if you stay in it for too long, you will end up dying, is supposed to be the idea. But you can actually enter that room, take a nap, come back, and your character will still be alive in the room at the time. So something I want to go over is you might have noticed that the spoken language is in Mandarin, a non-English language. So spoken language in this game is actually pretty heavily influencing the amount of time that we can actually save. Very specifically, Mandarin is 38 seconds faster than English, and it's the fastest language that we've tested. I think it's the fastest language, period, at this point. And the reason I bring it up here is because the Beacon Chapter 3 accounts for about a third of the entire time save you get from having the game in Mandarin on its own. So this section here goes by significantly faster as I wait to keep going.
It's Oasis has a question. Do you know what the slowest language is for this game?
The slowest language that I'm aware of is Japanese, I believe. I don't actually know, but I do know that Japanese is slower than English, and English is one of the slower languages, so it could very well be Japanese. Anyway, the reason that we reset the level earlier was to get the Brute loadout, because we need the Brute's fly ability in order to jam ourselves in that corner, and then we need to jam ourselves in that corner, use the Brute's fly ability, and that allows us to disembark while flying, which is unintended. And what that does is, you might notice, it reduces our gravity by 15%. And this is integral for the upcoming trick that I'm going to be doing, which is going to be Super Curveball, a variant on Super Fastball, which is meant to pick up all the helmets through this section here. I have a quick save ready here in case this goes wrong, because this is one of the coolest things in the game. But I do need to focus here, so there will not be commentary outside of me just voicing my thoughts in the exact moment until this section is done. So, ladies and gentlemen, Super Curveball. Helmet, gotta jump. We'll jump early. Extended slide hop. Let go of crouch. Very good. Extended slide hop. Very nicely done. We get the hole in one at the end too. Oh my goodness, that feels so good to pull off. Let me tell you something. Super fastball and super curveball every time. They're just two of the most satisfying tricks to pull off in this game. It is such a rush every single time. But we're not done with the hard tricks in this level, so we got to come over here and pick up some Grav Stars. Then we're going to come over and place a Grav Star right here. We're going to get boosted by it as we pick up this helmet, which will allow us to clear this gap. And then we can come over to the mission objective, which is to pick up this module, which we need to use to replace the module in the communication disk to contact the militia fleet. And now we're going to be going for another Grav Star boost after this, which is going to be a version of Zipless known as Poverty Zipless. It's known as Poverty Zipless because it's a slower but easier setup for Zipless. So we're going to throw this arc grenade right through there, and as it rises up, we're going to dash off, get boosted by it, get a crouch kick off of that wall. And now, ideally here, we want to maintain above 70 kilometers per hour through this section. Okay, we managed to get 75, which is fine because we can slide off here. Now, crucially, touch this zip line before you come down. This is important for all helmets for a reason I will get into later. Now we're going to be entering a dish fight sequence here. A little bit late to get that Smitty, but no worries, we'll get the second one for you. So this dish fight sequence has a lot of like rapidly spawning enemies, thank you Smitty. And the way that it works internally is there's going to be a set amount of time that there will be rapid number of enemy spawns, and then a set amount of time for small numbers of enemy spawns, and then once once you get to a certain point, the enemies will stop spawning and you have to kill all the remaining enemies in order to finish the dome fight sequence. So I'm going to try and get at least one more enemy down here. Once this enemy is down, I'm going to go for a disembark jump. Did not quite get it, but no big deal. And now we're going to start climbing the dish earlier than we would in any percent. And the reason for this is we're going to let BT take care of the rest of the enemies while we go ahead and start climbing to pick up some helmets along the way. So ideally we hear a gong soon. Okay, we didn't hear the gong, but we did end up despawning the last enemies, so it ends up working out. Okay. And again, all of this navigation is specifically in such a way that we can try and pick up the helmets that are on this level. So I'm having a little bit of trouble navigating through here. Okay, managed to get it. So here's the last helmet. This jump is difficult. Have to get a wall run. Very nicely done. Okay, so you notice that that's the last helmet in the level, but you might have noticed that it only says 8 out of 9. We actually skipped a helmet earlier on in the level that we're going to pick up at the end, making use of something known as Elmo Clip. And this actually saves time by skipping that helmet by allowing us to come back to it during the scripted ending sequence of the level. Thanks, BT. Here's a yo, bud. Give me a thumbs up, dude. Come on, man. Give me that thumbs up. Yeah. It's BT. Alright, so that is all the pilot movement in this level done and done, and now we're going to be heading on into the final part of the Beacon Chapter 3, which is going to be the Richter fight. So we first need to get on over here, and we're going to spawn the first few waves of enemies. Now this first wave of enemies here, we're just going to melee down, not use any of our resources. And the reason for this is there is a scripted timer that once a certain amount of time has passed, it will spawn in the second wave. So we're going to stand here, wait for a specific amount to spawn manip these enemies in here. As they spawn, hit them with that arc wave. Now we're going to 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to once again come over here, swap to the Scorch loadout, and we're once again going to look and stand in a specific spot to spawn manip the enemies in. So they're both coming down the right spot. We're going to put down a flame wall here, and we're going to... Okay, so the Brute didn't quite do what we wanted it to, but it's not that big of a deal. We're just going to quickly do some swapping here to take it out very quickly. Alright, no big deal, not that big of a time loss. And now we're going to be coming into the Richter fight itself. And I'm going to be doing a Scorch strat, which is different from the normal Ronin strat that people use, but I like this strat a lot. So we're going to start off, once this cutscene is done, by putting down a flame wall. We're going to shoot one shot from our main cannon. Richter is staying near us, okay? He did go a little bit further away, but that's fine. He should still be in the flame wall. And we didn't get the insta-nuke, ooh, just about hit the wrong button. Okay, there we go. So ideally, he would have nuked eject like he's doing right there, but we didn't get it, which is not that big of a deal. But we're going to need to use the Brute's fly ability to fly up to that little platform there, disembark, which is actually going to clip us inside of this building, start the elevator, and then move to the left, which is going to clip us back outside the building, start the end level sequence. But we now have free reign and freedom from that building, which is going to allow us to come back and pick up that helmet that we missed later on. Okay, so we got a little bit of lost speed. It should still be fine. All right, so we're going to jump on over here to this zip line, and we have to hit this zip line pretty far up the zip line. This is also why we touched the zip line earlier in the level. So we're going to come over here, pick up the last helmet just as it's fading out. All 9. That saves time as skipping the helmet earlier in the level. Very well done. So the reason we skip the level when we hit the zip line is this. The zip line, if we go onto the zip line, further down the zip line, closer to the platform that we jumped from, the game will crash. And if we don't touch the zip line before we try and go back for that helmet, the game will also crash even if we jump down further into the level. So with that, we are saving time, and we're in an unskippable cutscene here, so if we got any more donations, take them away.
No donations currently, but guys, definitely get those in. If you are just joining us, just a little bit of information about the charity we are raising money for this weekend. That is Trans Lifeline. Since 2014, Trans Lifeline's hotline has evolved from an entirely volunteer-run operation into a comprehensive resource that employs trans-identified staff and volunteers for a variety of roles. So definitely check them out, translifeline.org.
All right. So the end of the level is here. And we are going to be hopping on into another level that in the last year has gone through major changes, which is Trial by Fire. Previously, this level used to be pretty unique in the sense that it was really the only Titan-only level in the game. We very rarely, pretty much only in all helmets, had very small snippets where we would go as a pilot to pick up the helmets, but the rest of the level was done in a Titan entirely, and in any percent, it was also done entirely in a Titan. However, in the last year, we have had developments on Trial by Fire that now makes us about 50-50. 50% of the level in the Titan and 50% of the level as a pilot. And it's going to have one of the riskiest but most rewarding strategies in the game done later, which is going to be Lone Wolf. But to start off the level, we're going to use the Ronin's Sword Block ability, which reduces all incoming damage by 75%. This allows us to get to this wall, which doesn't exist, pass right through it, and position ourselves accordingly to start this opening fight by taking out a lot of Titans instantly. Alright, so a core over there. Come on over to these guys right here. Look up to dupe the Flame Trap. Ideally, it takes out the North Star. Didn't end up happening, but no big deal. Take out those guys, use another core in this direction, dash forward. Nice, that took out a very large amount of them. So if I can manip this guy back into my Flame Trap. Just this guy, we'll go for it. We'll go for it. Take him down. Okay, there we go. So we needed to kill a specific amount of Titans to have Sarah Briggs, the commander of this mission, say the line Tihu Komalai, or in English, pilot you're with me. That is the trigger to let us know that the door to progress into this section of the level has opened. We're going to take out those 2 Titans there with the core that we built up with Ronin. Pick up this helmet, get back into the Titan, and now we're going to... Okay, good. Sarah is with us. So that's an important part of this level. Because the first part of this level is kind of like a glorified escort mission. Alright, so now that we've taken out those Titans and done a little bit of management for some of these enemies, we're now going to do Titanless, or Triggerless, sorry, Triggerless. Triggerless is going out of the intended play area, notably not out of bounds, but out of the intended play area, to skip a bunch of triggers that would spawn Titans. By doing so, we can skip the need to have to deal with them, and just progress forward in the level. Notably, spawning the Titans can be faster, but Triggerless is a consistency strat that is on average faster than spawning the Titans. And the other aspect of it is, of course, the fact that Sarah Briggs needs to get to the elevator, which she's right there, which is absolutely perfect. And now we're going to ride up the elevator and prepare for the next part of this level, which is going to be Lone Wolf. So, as these doors open, we're going to dash and use the flight core ability of the Brute to get to the top of this elevator early. Now we're going to come over here, fly up and crouch, and disembark while flying. That is going to get BT stuck, and that is important because we don't want BT to follow us through the rest of this level. We're going to come over here, pick up the last helmet of the level, and now we're going to head into Lone Wolf. So, our routing through here is going to be very specific. We want to get up on top over here. Skip over these Titans. Most of these Titans here that are spawning shouldn't end up hitting us. I'm going to jump over. Okay, this is a little bit problematic, so we're going to try a backup strat here. Okay, we're going to have to really manage. Okay, we managed to get out of there. Very, very, very risky. Even on easy difficulty, Titans can just very easily one-shot you if they can manage to land a direct hit. So we managed to get out of that situation, which is ideal. We're at a lower speed than what we would want, so I'm going to take a real quick moment here to try and avoid... Okay, the North Star gave me good RNG by flying there. It let me pass through him with no issue. And now we just need to navigate through the rest of this level, use our cloaks wisely to avoid the Titans. Now, we're not out of the woods yet with this cutscene having spawned. We can still die at this point. So now we just need to navigate to the end level trigger a little bit further on. And you can hit the end level trigger a little bit early if you come to this left side versus trying to follow the ship. And with that, we have managed to get past Lone Wolf and Trial by Fire with very little issue overall. So that is a very scary level, but one that is extremely rewarding if you can manage to pull everything off there very smoothly. So despite the mistakes, I'm still very happy with that for a marathon setting. And now we're into the next level, which starts with an unskippable cutscene. An auto-scroller sequence that we cannot affect in any way, shape, or form. And this is the Ark. So in the lore, we're currently chasing the Draconis, which has the Ark, the power source of the fold weapon, inside of it. So we need to chase through it. I threw the grenade away at the beginning of the level there, because once this auto-scroller sequence is done, the game will actually give us, if we don't have any grenades, the game will give us full grenades, which we want full grenades for strategies later in the level. Alright. Just give me a second, I need to breathe a little bit here.
While you are breathing, Cosmic Wolf is raiding with a party of 58 welcome in raiders who say, raid message.
Oh yeah. So here we are going to get introduced to the boss fight of this level. We're not fighting him yet, but this is Viper, the father of Valkyrie from Apex Legends, and also the perfect mix of anime edge and cool. He's just great. Visual clear. I've got good tone. So Viper is going to take out the ship that we are on. If you look at the top right corner of your screen, BT is standing up in the air. He's waving at us. Hi, BT. Hey, bud. How you doing, dude? Hi. All right, so now we're going to be doing a skip known as Barker Skip. But we're going to be doing a frag boost from one ship, the ship we're standing on, to another ship that spawns. And ideally, we can do this in one frag in one try. I do need audio cues here, so I will be focusing up. Nope, not quite. So there is some variance to this, unfortunately. The variance of the ship's tilt, the 6-4 ship tilt, as well as the angle that they come in on. There's a lot of variance to this that is unfortunately uncontrollable. Okay, so we do get it second try. Second try is still very good. Okay, so we're gonna come over here. So notably, doing Barker Skip is probably one of the worst things that you can do in trying to, okay, unfortunate. Please just spawn me on the 6-4, thank you. So doing Barker Skip is one of the worst things that you can do in terms of making this level functional. So So the Ark is notorious for being a level that can break for literally any reason. And it's all because of doing Barker Skip. So the list of things that can happen as a result of doing Barker Skip include, but are not limited to, the game soft locking in various locations, the game hard crashing in a specific location, the game potentially soft locking you by ruining your quick save, forcing you, ruining your autosave, forcing you to restart the level, have necessary NPCs required to progress through the level come out of the ship at the wrong time, forcing one to float off in the distance and soft lock the level, have necessary NPCs fall through the level, soft locking the level, randomly falling through the floor of the level for no reason. And there's probably more than that. All right, so right here, we want Davis to come out of the ship first. Okay, very good. We're not soft locking here. So notably through this section that I just did while I was discussing things that can go wrong in this level, this third battery is the only battery you actually have to clear to progress the game forward. So that's why I skipped through the first two batteries, despite the game wanting me to clear them out. So now we're going to go into doing an early Sarah. We're going to slide off and jump at the right time to get inside of her ship. Whoa, okay then. That was interesting. Just had no control for a second there. Interesting. Alright, so the frags that I mentioned are very useful for this part of the level. I died. Interesting. That's... okay. Alright, so we're going to take it a little bit safer, and since we picked up the helmet, we don't have to pick it up a second time, because once you pick up a helmet, the helmet is recorded as picked up in your data, so you don't have to pick it up again. So we use those two frags to take out those guys here. We're going to throw one frag in the back. Try and take out as many of these guys as we can. Once we take them out, we're going to come over. Some guys are going to spawn on this particular elevator here. So we're going to wait out for them to spawn. And we're going to shoot them in the back very quickly. Throw one grenade at that guy. And very specifically, we want to take out certain grunts, but not all of the grunts and enemies. The reason why we want to take out certain ones is the 6-4 are scripted to take out a specific amount themselves. So if we take out the ones that would take them longer to kill, we can save time by allowing us to kill the ones that we should kill and we need to kill. Allow us to get back here. Loud sound warning, by the way. I don't know if this comes through because some people say it comes through, some people doesn't. But for some reason, my sound glitches out in this section and has the volume of a specific sound effect just go way, way loud for some reason. So if you did hear that, I apologize. I forgot to warn you earlier. Interesting. That's happened. Thankfully, I triggered the little sequence, so I just need to run back up here. Alright, so this sequence you don't have to actually end up taking out. It's like a breach and clear section. Really cool, but you don't actually have to do anything because they will do everything for you. And now we're going to put our knife, a little data knife in here and steer this ship. Don't worry about it. We're steering this giant ship with a knife. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it too hard. Notably, I'm using a controller for this section because analog control is actually much better for being precise with your positioning here. And also, this is a section that I've noticed... well, let's stick to the right. What do you mean? Okay. I mean, I guess. This is one of those sections that has the tendency to crash for some reason or also kill you by, like, you come out of, like, steering the ship and then you fall through the floor. So I've noticed that that happens to me significantly less when I use a controller there versus using mouse and keyboard. All right, and now we are going to get introduced to the Viper boss fight. Voodoo 1, Viper's on station. Your run ends here, pilot. The RNG belongs to me. No time to save. No run to bless. Why am I not on Ion? I don't have Ion. I didn't load the menu in the Ark. Okay, this is awkward. Let's just do this boss fight. We're winging it. So we're gonna do some ancient strats to get through this here. Okay, I think it is... we don't want to do that. I missed it. That's unfortunate. Okay, so that was not how that was supposed to go. However, I forgot that I'm also supposed to load to the main menu in the Ark as well, in order to get the Ion loadout. So I didn't have the Ion loadout there for some reason, and I'm not entirely sure why, but the Ion loadout is required for a fight strategy that we use for this fight now called Viper Zerg. So I just had to kind of wing it there. If we had done Viper Zerg, there would have been an additional little funny out of bounds we would have had to deal with. Because as we would fall here, the background of the level would start turning like very cloudy, and that would be an indication that we've gone out of bounds. Because actually, doing the Viper fight too fast causes us to go out of bounds. And if we went out of bounds, we would have had to come over here, and as the invisible wall started pushing us, we would have had to do a mantle clip there to clip back inbounds. But with that being said, we're going to come over, try and take out a good friend Viper here, and take him out in 3 shots. Ideally, you can do it in 1 to save the most time, but not the biggest deal in the world. That's not good. I don't want to fly that far. All right. So that's pretty much all of the gameplay in the Ark. The rest here is just a scripted sequence. It takes about 1:55. What's going to be happening is we're going to be coming in here, and we're going to be trying to get the Ark and secure it so that we can continue onward with our fun gameplay time. Yeah, that. So the next level is going to... Sorry.
Nope, go ahead. Nope,
just going to finish up what I'm saying. The next level is going to be the last, and that is where the voice acting incentive is going to come into play. So thank you all for meeting that donation incentive before the run even started. It's something I very much love doing, and I hope you all enjoy, and I hope it was worth the $100. Take it away.
Yeah, so if everyone else is as excited as I am to hear Fluffy do this voice acting section, I want to see some hype in the chat, and I also want to call out that we are at over $2,000, so thank you all so much for that. Let's keep that going.
I would clap if I didn't have to hold W here. All right. So we're going to push the Ark inside of BT. Ideally, we want to escape here, but no, actually. Haha, it's funny. All right, so the ship is going down. We are trapped, and BT is going to do his best to keep us alive through this. Oh, right, I have to be hitting B. This is one of those few locations, and something that you might notice is sometimes I don't do dialogue. Sometimes I hit the dialogue. Some locations, it's faster to hit the buttons to do the dialogue. Some locations, you just don't want to press the dialogue at all. In the case of that right there at the end of the Ark, it's faster to actually hit both dialogues than to let them time out, which is very cool. All right, but we are going to be heading into the last level here, the full weapon, and here we go with the voice acting. Let me breathe in. Bless, your problems are not my concern. Once you have delivered the Ark, as per your contract, your payment will be transferred by the IMC. Just have my money ready. I'll get you your precious cargo, you useless niff. Oi, Titan! You're gonna open up and give me what I want. Voice command not recognized. Let me just rip it out of him. We can't risk it. The Ark's unstable. Listen, hero. You have what's mine, and I want it back. Go on. Tell your Titan to open up. About what? His feelings? Still trying to be a hero, eh? I have a lot of dosh running on this contract, my friend. So tell your Titan, if he doesn't open up, I will shoot you in the head. Pilot in jeopardy. Ocular systems marginal. Cannot visually acquire pilot. Stand him up. You see him now? Right here. Right here. Yeah? You see him now? Functions compromised by severe. I don't care how broken you are. I know deep down some things still work in there. Now open up,
or I'm going to shoot your pilot in the head. You still remember numbers, don't you? I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, that wasn't so hard, was it? Yeah, that's the problem with teams. If you don't win together, you die together.
Flashing lights warning. If you're epileptic, look away from the screen. I'll tell you when you can look back.
Nice try, love. Say goodnight.
Oi! Get the ark out of here! We're running out of time!
All right, and there we go. That is the opening cutscene voice acted. Hope you all enjoyed that. I very much love to do it, and I hope that the mic didn't cut out. I tried to avoid that when I was going into tried to avoid the mic cutting out when going into the things. So that's the opening cutscene done and done. So BT is going to say I can no longer do anything, but he's going to rip off his face and give us the Seer Kit, which is the Survive, Evade, Resist, Escape Kit. So BT, thank you for your sacrifice. So we're going to interact with it here, and we're going to enter into the gameplay, the final level. So we're going to open up the Seer Kit. The flashing lights warning is over at this point, for the record. We're going to pick up a smart pistol, which is a literal aimbot pistol that they put in the multiplayer of both games for some reason. Don't ask me why. We're going to get a data knife, which is that thing that we used to steer the ship earlier. Just ignore the fact that we have one in our belt right now anyway. And then we're going to get BT's data core, which houses the entirety of his AI processes. So as long as we have this, BT is still alive. So we're going to do another super glide here, just like we did at the start of the game. Activate the data knife into here to open up the door, and we're going to enter the gameplay of the final section. So we're very briefly going to start off with only one jump. So we're going to try and navigate with just the one jump through here. Didn't quite get what I wanted, but that's going to allow me to take a better line through here as I go for these crouch kicks. Very nicely done. Good speed. Okay, a little bit of scuff. That's no big deal. A little bit scuffed, but we managed to get some good speed through there, which made up for the little bit of mistakes. We're going to ride the zip line here, use the aimbot pistol to take these guys out, slide under here. Now we're going to go for another section here. All right, so this is this does take me like quite a bit of some focus, so I apologize for the commentary not being very descriptive right now. Unfortunately, he wasn't in the line of sight for the aimbot pistol when I shot, and then he just went into my way. So no big deal. We'll just continue onward. This is the path we're going to take for the first helmet in this level. We're going to take the outside path like that, do a little bump launch up here to get to the helmet. Now we're going to call in a new Titan without its data core in it, and we're going to insert the data core that we have of BT into this Titan, and we're going to get our friend BT back. So yeah, now the first pilot section of this level is over. We've picked up one helmet, and then we're going to head into the Titan section of this level. So before we get into the Titan section, I just want to say this is my first time doing this game with solo commentary. If y'all have any feedback that you wanted to give me, please do so at my Twitch, not my Twitch, my Twitter, at LordFluffyX. Anyway, so we're going to do a little bit of a core game strategy there called, I forget what it's called. Why did I forget what it's called? Oh my goodness. I forgot what it was called. Snuggle Core, that's what it was, named after Snugglepug. Which is a core gain strategy that was about a second and a half or so, if I remember, about a second faster than the old strategy. So we're going to quickly make use of the Ronin Sword Core, which, as you can see, when the Sword Core is active, your dashes get refreshed much quicker. So this little door here, I don't have North Star, so I have to go to Brute. Okay. All right. We'll just try this again. Little bit of scuff. Forgetting that quits menu earlier in the arc did not help. Anyway, that door at the top just doesn't exist, so we're gonna hover through, and we're gonna go for a disembark jump here to get over to the second helmet. Managed to get it. Now we're going to progress through on foot here, which is faster than walking our Titan through this section. But this is also dangerous because even on easy difficulty, it's very easy to die in that hallway due to the various number of grunts and specters through it. So now we're going to navigate around like so. This is a routing. Oh, missed my jump. So we're going to just take some backup routing here to get on over to where we want to go. There we go. Picked up the third, and that is the last helmet in the game to pick up. So now all we have to do is just simply navigate our way back on over to the intended pathway, and we can head on into the final boss of the game, which is going to be Sloan. You have your money, Blisk. Now go. My forces will take over from here. About time they do something. Yeah, if I make a militia pilot's trying to be a hero, he's all yours. Keep the salvage.
Who said anything about salvage? I'll do this one for free.
Alright, so we're going to swap to the Ronin loadout. We're going to do an arc wave. 1, 2, 3, 4. Swap to the Brute loadout. 1, 2. And that'll cause Sloan to teleport away, which is the end of the first phase of the fight. We're going to shoot down some flame traps, look up to detonate it and dupe it. Take out both of these guys in the process. Now we're going to come over here to spawn manip Sloan to spawn here. Put down a flame wall. She will back up into the wall like we want her to. Quickly deal a lot of damage to her. That'll cause the second phase to go down. Now we'll use the Ronin Sword Core to take out... Oh, managed to get it. Nice. Okay, I managed to save it there because sometimes those little Reapers like to jump immediately and troll you. All right, so now that that's the third wave is down, she's going to use her Laser Core here, which will keep her in place like we want to. We're going to take down the rest of her health bar. I messed up. Okay. That hurts. So what I was supposed to do there is I was supposed to use the Sword Core and then interact with the Arc Injector. And what that was supposed to do is it was supposed to allow me to have my gun out during this cutscene. Unfortunately, I now no longer have my gun out in this cutscene because I wasn't quite close enough when I activated my Sword Core. So the Sword Core fully activated, which means I don't get this cutscene. But what you can see in the bottom left corner there is the Arc Injector's lights are lit up. That is something called pre-charge, which I'll get into later. But an advantage of messing this up is you get more dialogue. It's your lucky day, hero. I'm not going to kill you.
I don't work for free. But you don't get to kill me either. Yeah, you earned this, eh? Blisk, that Command-class Titan is still in there. Not my problem, Marta. Should have put it in my contract. I got other people with money to see. What are you doing? What it is that you think you are doing?
Alright, so, all that dialogue that we just went through, if we had had our gun out here, we could have actually killed Blisk in that cutscene, which would have skipped all the dialogue that I just said, and progressed the level forward about 33 seconds quicker, unfortunately. So Apex Legends is canon in this playthrough, unfortunately. We did not decanonize Apex Legends. But we did get one really good aspect of the Sloan fight. So a very good Sloan fight, if you can do it quickly enough, you can actually start pulling out the Arc Injector before the PA system says full weapon priming sequence at 98%. If you do that, the lights inside of the Arc Injector will actually be lit up as you go into it, which will save you 11 seconds of a sequence of lights needing to come up in the first place. So while we did lose some time to unfortunately missing Andy's shot, which is the name of the trick that allows us to kill Blisk in the cutscene, we did get pre-charge, which saves some of that time back. So we are going to be coming up on time at the end of this escape sequence here. So I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for supporting Trans Lifeline. And even though I had to spare Marvin this run, you will all see why you will regret that decision in a moment. Alright, so unfortunately this is also This is also the most appropriate time to press F in the chat for BT. All right, so this final escape sequence is coming up here. We're going to start off by jumping on that wall. We're going to try and get another wall kick off of this wall here. And we're going to try and hit this trigger as low as we possibly can to give us as much room as possible to go for some air strafing here. We want to try and hit about 47. Didn't quite get it, so we'll go for a safer strat in the process. So we can use the speed that we got there to skip past those pieces of debris coming up. Time is coming up right in a second. Time. All right. And that is Titanfall 2, all helmets done in 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 16 seconds in-game time, which is sub 130. Honestly, with how marathons run go, getting a sub 130 in this category is very, very solid. Anyway, for all of you who spared the Marvin, you just made him sad until the planet blew up. You just made him sad until the planet blew up. You really just made him sad for the rest of his life. You could have just spared him. Get it over with quicker. Why'd you guys do it? Man, it's funny.
Excellent,
All right.
one. Well done.
All right, so we have to do one more thing just to make sure. So we go back to the main menu. We go to mission select, 1 out of 1, 2 out of 2, 6 out of 6, 9 out of 9, 8 out of 8, 11 out of 11, 3 out of 3, 3 out of 3, 3 out of 3. We confirmed that we picked up all the helmets. We didn't miss one. Everything is fantastic. So that's going to be it for me. I'm not going to hold you here long because I didn't exactly have the most solid run, but it was still pretty good. But I'm close to my estimate. So if you guys enjoyed it, I do stream Titanfall 2 speedruns over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/LordFluffy. Follow me there. If you enjoyed, I also do Ocarina of Time randomizers. I also do Final Fantasy 14 all dungeon speedruns, if that's something that interests you as well. And yeah, thank you to the Titanfall community for coming out and your donations in as well. Very much appreciate that. Love the Titanfall 2 community. If you want to join the Titanfall 2 community, join the Discord. We have resources for you for all different terminologies, strats, and different ways for you to learn and for us to teach you. Titanfall 2 is a wonderful game. Please support it. Maybe we get Titanfall 3 in the future. This is my first foray into live commentary, so if you do have any feedback for me, bring it to my Twitch next time I'm live, or bring it to my Twitter at LordFluffyX. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will give it back to the host. See you guys later.